Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful and life-changing books ever written, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book isn't just about money, it's about mindset. It teaches us how the rich think differently, how they make money work for them, and how anyone can achieve financial freedom by changing the way they look at money. So sit back, relax, and listen carefully. Because what you are about to hear might completely change the way you see your future. Let's begin the journey into Rich Dad Poor Dad. Imagine being a child with two fathers. One was highly educated, held a government job, and believed in stability. The other never finished high school but became one of the richest men in Hawaii. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, grew up learning from both. His poor dad was his real father, a man of words, education, and job security. His rich dad was his best friend's father, a man of vision, financial intelligence, and entrepreneurship. Both men loved him. Both were successful in their own way. But they thought completely differently about money. One would say, go to school, get good grades, and find a safe job. The other would say, learn how money works, and make it work for you. That's how this book begins, with a clash of beliefs that shaped Robert's entire financial philosophy. Part 1. The rich don't work for money. When Robert was just 9 years old, he asked his rich dad how to become rich. Rich Dad smiled and said, if you want to learn how to be rich, you must learn to make money work for you. He offered young Robert a job at one of his stores for 10 cents an hour. Robert worked hard but soon got frustrated. The pay was too little. He complained to Rich Dad and demanded more money. But instead of increasing his pay, Rich Dad laughed. He said, you are seeing the world through the eyes of an employee. You are working for money, not learning how money works for you. Then he added something powerful. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich make money work for them. That sentence changed Robert's life. Rich Dad explained. When you chase a salary, you fall into a trap called the rat race. Fear makes you work for money. Greed makes you spend it as soon as you earn it. True freedom comes when money begins working for you through assets, investments, and business ownership. From that moment, Robert decided to stop working for money and start learning how to think like a rich person. Part 2. Why teach financial literacy? Rich Dad said, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much you keep. Most people think owning a house or a car makes them rich, but that's not always true. Because they don't understand one simple concept, the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. That's it. That's the foundation of financial literacy. Rich Dad taught Robert that real wealth comes from collecting assets, not things that look rich, but things that generate income. Examples. Rental property that pays you every month, an asset. A luxury car that needs fuel, maintenance, and insurance, a liability. Yet, most people spend their lives buying liabilities, thinking they're assets. Poor Dad often said, our house is our greatest investment. Rich Dad disagreed. He said, your house is not an asset until it puts money in your pocket. Financial literacy means understanding cash flow. Money flowing in assets. Money flowing out liabilities. And the rich spend their time building and protecting their asset column. Part 3. Mind your own business. Rich Dad often told Robert, mind your own business, not your employer's. He didn't mean quit your job immediately. He meant, even while working for someone else, start building your own asset base. Poor Dad believed in working for promotions and job titles. Rich Dad believed in working for freedom. He explained, most people spend their lives building someone else's dream. They forget to build their own. So, he taught Robert to think like an entrepreneur, to look for opportunities, side businesses, and investments. Rich Dad said, you can be employed and still be an investor. Start small. Buy a stock. Learn about real estate. Build something that earns when you sleep. That's how rich people grow, not by working harder, but by working smarter and owning systems that generate income automatically. Part 4. The History of Taxes and Power of Corporations. Here's something few schools ever teach: the tax system favors the rich. Poor dad, as a government employee, paid heavy taxes before spending his money. Rich dad, as a business owner, spent first then paid taxes on what was left. That's the difference between employee and owner. Rich dad taught. Employees earn taxed then spend what's left. Owners earn spend on business taxed on what remains. For example, an employee buys a car taxed income first. A business owner buys a company car before taxes. That's why Rich Dad said, the rich use corporations to protect and multiply their wealth. Corporations are not just for big companies. They are tools that the financially educated use to control money legally and intelligently. Rich Dad also warned, the poor pay for the ignorance of the rich. The more financial education you gain, the more power you have over your money. Electric light bulb part 5. The rich invent money. Money isn't scarce. Opportunities are everywhere but only for those who can see them. Rich Dad told Robert, the rich don't wait for luck. They create opportunities through financial intelligence. He explained that there are 3 kinds of people. 1. Those who never see opportunities. 2. Those who see them but don't act. 3. And those who see and act even when others are afraid. Robert realized that financial intelligence is not about degrees, it's about courage, creativity, and knowledge. When markets crash, most people panic but the rich see buying opportunities. Rich Dad's words echo even today. Money is an idea. If you want more money, change your thinking. Learning how to evaluate investments, understanding market trends, and managing risks, these are the tools of the rich. And the best part, anyone can learn them. Part 6. Work to learn, not to earn. When Robert grew up, he joined the Marines and later worked in sales. His poor dad was disappointed. Why waste your education? He asked. But Rich Dad smiled. He said, perfect. You are learning skills that will make you rich. Rich Dad believed in learning how to sell, communicate, lead, and manage people. Because these are the skills that multiply money. He told Robert, every job is an opportunity to learn something new: how business works, how people behave, how value is created. Too many people work only for paychecks, never realizing that learning is the real reward. Rich Dad said, don't specialize too soon. Learn a little about everything. The more you understand, the more control you have over your financial future. It's not about quitting your job. It's about using your job as a classroom. Thought Balloon Part 7. The Power of Choice. Every day, we all make choices about money. Spend or save. Learn or ignore. Build or wait. Rich Dad taught Robert that wealth is a result of the choices you make daily. You don't need to be born rich. You just need to decide to change your mindset. Poor dad said, I can't afford it. Rich Dad said, how can I afford it? That small difference in words creates a big difference in life. One shuts down the brain. The other forces it to think creatively. The rich don't avoid problems, they find ways to solve them profitably. Repeat button Part 8. Overcoming fear and doubt. The greatest enemy of wealth isn't poverty. It's fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of being wrong. Fear of rejection. Rich Dad said, winners are not those who never lose. Winners are those who never quit after losing. He taught Robert to take calculated risks. To fail fast, learn faster, and move forward. Because failure isn't the end, it's the tuition fee for success. Every successful person you admire once lost money, faced criticism, or looked foolish. But they kept learning. That's what separates dreams for doers. Part 9. Working for knowledge, not security. Rich Dad's biggest lesson was that job security is an illusion. He said, the moment you depend on a paycheck, you are not free. True security lies in self-reliance, in your ability to create value wherever you are. He explained, if you can build wealth once, you can do it again and again because your mind is your greatest asset. Rich people invest in their mind first: books, mentors, seminars, experiences. Poor people often invest only in comfort. Robert realized that the most powerful asset is financial education. Once you understand how money works, you'll never be controlled by it again. Part 10. Building your financial foundation. Rich Dad gave a blueprint for financial growth. 4 key steps. 1. Increase your financial IQ. Learn accounting, investing, markets, and law. Knowledge protects you. 2. Buy assets, not liabilities. Focus on things that earn even when you sleep. 3. Build a system. Whether it's a business, real estate portfolio, or content brand, create something that runs without your daily presence. 4. Give back. The more you give knowledge, opportunities, or help, the more abundance flows back to you. Robert followed these principles and achieved financial freedom. He didn't wait for a promotion. He built his own ladder. Bell Part 11. Final reflections to voices. Even as an adult, Robert still hears both voices in his mind. One says, play it safe. Get a job. Don't take risks. The other whispers, take control. Learn. Build assets. Don't fear mistakes. He admits both voices are real. But the choice of which one to follow decides your future. Poor Dad's mindset leads to comfort but also limits. Rich Dad's mindset leads to freedom but demands courage. Robert chose freedom. Conclusion: the lesson that changes lives. At the end of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki leaves us with a challenge. Your financial future is not decided by your salary, but by your education, your financial education. Wealth begins in the mind. The poor say, money is the root of all evil. The rich say, lack of money is the root of all evil. It's not about greed, it's about choice, growth, and contribution. So ask yourself today, are you working for money? Or is money starting to work for you? That's the question that separates financial struggle from financial freedom. Because in the end, it's not what you earn, but what you learn and what you do with it that shapes your destiny. You have two fathers within you, the safe one and the visionary one. The life you live depends on which voice you choose to follow.
What's up, guys? Don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button right down there so you don't miss out on the next one.